All right, calculator section number 1. This says 2 data sets are summarized by the box plots. All right, how much greater is the median of data set 2 than the median of data set 1? How do we get the median in these box plots? That's this line right here. This is the min, max, 25th percentile, 50th percentile, which is the median, 75th percentile. This is also known as quartile 1, quartile 3, if I remember correctly, all right? So this median is 9, this median is 6, the difference is 3, okay? We have to be able to read those graphs. All right, the table shows the number of pizzas sold at a store on each day. Which statement best compares the mean and median, okay? Basically, which one's bigger or not enough information. To get the median, these have to be sorted from least to greatest, so that's what I did over here, so you gotta be careful with that. And then you just start crossing off one on each side until you get to the middle, that's 35, so that's the median. The mean, you just add all these up, you have a calculator, do that, divided by the number of terms, which is 7, that's 45, so the mean is greater than the median, that's choice B. Okay, number 3, this table shows the number of students who attended some assembly. Number of freshmen who attended the assembly is 4 times the number of seniors who attended the assembly. How many freshmen attended the assembly, okay? So just by this sentence over here, if we let X be the freshmen and Y be the seniors, number of freshmen is 4 times the number of seniors. So X equals 4Y. That's how we translate that sentence into an equation, okay? And then we need another equation. Well, we can get X plus Y plus these two, which is 90, equals 180. That's another equation, or we can simplify to X plus Y is 90. 2 equations, 2 unknowns. We have a system of equations. So I just substitute it since X is 4Y. Put that into here. 4Y plus Y is 90. Solve for Y, that's 18. We got to answer the question though. Don't pick A. We're asked how many freshmen, Y is the number of seniors. So X is 4Y, which is 72. Be careful. Don't pick 18 just because, oh, you get excited. I got 18. I found a matching answer. That didn't answer the question. That's wrong. Okay, so that's it for the easy level. Now all these upcoming ones are intermediate or harder, okay? So until we get to the hard ones, well, actually, no, sorry. This up to number 10 is easy. My bad. I'm looking at the wrong section. Okay. Number 4. In 2019, Iowa sales tax was 6%. Shirt cost 15% before sales tax. What's the cost of the shirt after sales tax? Okay. So if you go shopping, you might do this a lot. So hopefully this is a piece of cake. Take this 15, multiply by 1.06. So let me explain if you've never done this before. Okay. So you have the original, imagine distributing. You have the original $15 of the shirt and then 6% sales tax, so 15 times 0.06. So instead of doing these two individually, just do 15 times 1.06. Add these two to be 1.06. This is how we quickly calculate the price after tax. Okay, so that's 15.9. That's choice B. Okay, so maybe go do some shopping to get some practice on that if you need to. All right. Object weighs 20 ounces and has volume of 5 cubic inches. What's the density in ounces per cubic inch of the object? Okay. If for some reason you have not learned what density is, even though by this point you probably should have, look at the units. Density is ounces per cubic inch. Ounces, cubic inch. Divide the 2. That's 4. You can think of it like that. If you know the density is mass over volume, mass is in ounces, volume is in cubic inches, divide the 2, 4. Okay? Okay, so let's not read all this. There's 2 things. Bag had 100 dice. Bar graph summarizes the distribution of the dice by the numbers of faces for each company. Okay? Which of the following statements compares the 2? Okay, it's asking about if we quickly skim. Don't read all of them yet. It's about mean and median, if they're the same or different. Okay. Median and standard deviation. Median, what's the median? It's the middle number. what's the middle number for this set over here? Well, conveniently, it's very nice that it's symmetric. So we can quickly pick out that the median will be 10 because there's 10 instances of 6, there's 10 instances of 14, so those you would cross out like in the other problem. There's equal number of instances for these two, so then the median is here. Similar for this, equal instances of that, of this, and this, so this is the median, okay? So the medians are the same, so we can cross out these two already. Now what about standard deviation? Are they the same? Are they different? They have to be different because standard deviation is, you can think of it as spread, or how much it deviates from the mean. We don't know what the mean is, but in a symmetric distribution, usually the mean is very close to the median. So the mean is probably 10, okay? This over here goes out to 4 and 16 versus over here it didn't, right? So this would have a bigger standard deviation than this one. So they are not the same. That's how we think through this one. Okay, they categorize this one as easy, so you have to be able to think of this conceptually. I would really not go bother to calculate the standard deviation, and the median is not too bad, but the standard deviation, I would definitely not calculate it. That would take probably 5 minutes of your time, to be honest. Okay, number 7. In the given scatter plot, a line of best fit for the data is shown. What is the closest to the slope? So just pick some points where this line is on the grid lines, okay? So like here and here. So the slope is change in y over change in x. We go up in the y by 6. We go right in the x by 2. So 6 over 2, that's 3. Okay. All right. Number 8, the table shows selected values for the function. What is the best description of the function f? Well, clearly it's increasing as x increases, right? So we can already eliminate these two. Is it linear or is it exponential? A linear line, the change in y is constant for an equal step in the change of x. So these are equal steps, right? All of these. So these differences should be the same, but they're not. So we can already eliminate that in process of elimination. It's d. You could also notice that this is times 2, times 2, times 2. That's clearly an exponential model. Okay. Nine, 10, 11 refer to this guy. Concrete sections of bridge expand and contract. This is some model for it. Okay. W is the expansion in millimeters, and T is the temperature. Okay. So you notice how I didn't really read it. Okay. At what concrete temperature in degrees Celsius will the width of the expansion of the gap? Well, the expansion gap be 11.25 millimeters. So this is W. They're asking for T. Okay? So we plug this into W and we solve for T. That's 25. Okay? Which graph best represents the relationship between the expansion gap and temperature of concrete? Okay? Well, we look at this line. Okay? This is the slope right here. It's a negative slope. So we can already eliminate these two over here. There's no slope. There's a positive slope, okay? What's the y-intercept or the w-intercept? It's 20.5. That's this one, choice B. Look how easy that is, okay? Now, which inequality best describes all the concrete temperatures T in degrees Celsius that correspond to an expansion gap width between 13.1 millimeters and 16.8 millimeters? You could technically just use this graph to help you eyeball, but to be safe and precise, it doesn't take too long to do exactly what you did here, but with some new numbers, okay? So you find that T is between 10 and 20, okay? Okay. By the way, that number 11 was considered intermediate just now, that inequality one. Now we're moving on to the intermediate ones now. Okay. Given function models the population of Greenland from this year to this year, where n is the number of years after 1960. According to this function, how many years after 1960 was the population the greatest? Okay. You are allowed to calculate it. I'm not sure, to be honest, if they allow a graphing calculator anymore, especially on the digital version. But you can technically just graph this, use the graphing calculator function to find the max, and that'll be it. You can totally do it like that. That'll take you maybe, I don't know, 15 to 20 seconds if you're good at typing things in and you know how to use the find max option. However, you can solve this in 2 to 3 seconds if you have this conceptual understanding. So this is a very good problem, it's intermediate level, to show that you can solve it in other ways that's going to take more time. But if you understand the concepts, you can easily get the answer in just a few seconds. We know this is a parabola, and this is in vertex form. The max is the vertex, so the max occurs at 42, and you're done. 2 seconds. If you can piece that together quickly in your head, maybe 5 seconds, let's say. Okay? Again, the concept is, for a parabola, an important point is the vertex. The vertex is this HK point. Remember the vertex form? Okay? Vertex is the max or the min. In this case, it's the max. So the max occurs at 42. That's how you can pick it in 2 to 5 seconds. No need to type it into your calculator, or I don't know, even if you know the vertex formula, the negative b over 2a, you need to first get this in standard form and all that. Don't do that. Get the concepts. Okay, particular waterfall erodes the land at 11.8 inches per year, which the following is closer to the rate of erosion caused by this waterfall in meters per year. So this is a typical conversion. So I like to explain it in unit analysis. So 11.8 inches per year. We got to convert it to meters per year. So they give us the conversions here. Look at how the units work. There's 1 foot in 12 inches. Look, inches cancel. Okay? This is inequality. It's like multiplying by 1. So we're not changing anything, okay? Because 1 foot is 12 inches. So this is inequality. Or, yeah, multiplying by 1, not equality. And similarly, 1 meter is 3.28 feet. So we place meters on top and feet on the bottom because we want to cancel out the feet. So you get meters per year as your end units, and put it in your calculator, you get 0.2998, something like that, round it to 0.3. Okay, very typical unit analysis question in my opinion. Okay. Scatter plot shows the 4-arm mass index of some bat, blah, blah, blah. Line of best fit shown. Which the following is closest to the range of the blood glucose concentration of these 10 bat species? The range is max minus min. Hopefully we remember that. So what's the max? This looks like 9.5, right? The min is 4. Take the difference. 5.5. That's the best answer. All right. Which of the following is closest? Oh, this they didn't give the multiple choice for some reason, so let's skip that. Okay. Number 16. Which expression is equivalent to this? You can just factor. What's the greatest common factor? Well, you can factor a 5 from all of these. Okay. You can factor 1 power of x, and you can factor 1 power of y. So 5xy, if you do the math, and this doesn't really help, but hopefully I just explained it, you get choice C. Okay? The line with the equation x equals 0 intersects the circle with the equation this at 2 points in the xy plane, which is what is one of the points. So this is a circle of radius 4. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. So r is 4. Okay, so we know it's centered at the origin as well. And this is a vertical line, x equals 0, or it's the y-axis. Okay, so we know that it intersects at 0, 4, because the circle of radius 4, and 0 minus 4. Okay, so B. Okay. 8 cups of strawberry jam. X small jars, Y small jars with all the jam he made. Equated x plus 2y equals 48 represents the situation. What is the best interpretation of 2y in this context? Okay, so let me explain this one carefully. X plus 2y equals 48. What is 48? Cups. 48 cups. Okay? So this quantity x has to represent some number of cups, and this quantity 2y has to represent some number of cups as well. So this amount of cups plus this amount of cups equals 48 cups. Okay? So we can already eliminate A and B. These are quantities of cups. Okay? And Y is related to the large jar, so it has to be D. Okay? Table gives distribution of ice cream flavor and topping. Custom order is selected at random. What is the probability of selecting an order with sprinkles given the flavor is vanilla? Flavor is vanilla. So this is conditional probability. We're given the flavor is vanilla, so how many are there that are vanilla? There's 40 total, right? That's given. So we're like filtering just for this group. And how many of those vanilla are, what it's asking for, with sprinkles? That's 30. So 30 of 40, which is 3/4, which is 0.75. Okay. Y-intercept of this graph. Y-intercept is when x equals 0, so plugging x is 0. This is 1, so 6 minus 1, which is 3. 0 comes 3. Okay. Ratio of rectangle's width to its length is 4 to 9. If the width of the rectangle is w, which expression represents the length of the rectangle? So ratio is something over something, it's a fraction. So width to length, that's w over L, is equals 4 to 9, 4 over 9, okay? So just cross multiply. 9w is 4L, we're solving for L, right? So L is 9 over 4w, that's B. Okay? This one's next. Okay. System of equations represented in the graph. One part of the system. Okay, honestly, I didn't read any of this. So, which of the following systems represents the system? You're just trying to figure out which of these equations matches this. And actually, if you actually read through these sentences don't help you at all. Unless I didn't read it carefully. Okay, so we just got to look here. And we want to use this line actually to help us out. Because notice this is a x-intercept of 6,000. This is a y-intercept of, if we count, we notice that it's 1,000 each tick. This is 12,000, okay? So it's the same line. So we have these intercepts we can use to our advantage, okay? So one of these lines must have these intercepts, okay? And if you go through the choices, you'll actually see that only choice A, and it's this equation right here, gives you these, okay? This one won't, okay? This one is close, but won't. And this one won't, for sure. Okay? So that's how I thought of it, and I got it done in like maybe 20 seconds after I thought it through. Okay? Cone, okay, this is a bad question right away. I'll go through it though. Cone T is a right circular cone, radius R, height H. As shown, it's not shown here, but it really doesn't matter. The volume of cone W, not shown, is 1 over 27 times the volume of cone T. Which of the following could be the dimensions of cone W? So they tell us that volume of cone W is 1 over 27 times volume of cone T. So 1 over 27 times, you have the formula in the front, is 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay? So it should have given both dimensions, but it didn't. So if we assume that one of them's the same. So for example, if we just change the height to 1 over 27, then you'll get the same. Then this equation would be true, okay? If you change the height of cone T to 1 over 27h instead of h, then you'll get the volume of cone W. That works. Just notice you can combine these two together, right? Okay? This one doesn't work. The answer key said to pick this one. People were saying it got cut off or something, but this is wrong because if you replace r with a third r, you only get 1/9 r squared. That's not 1 over 27. That's not enough. So if with this limited information, A would have been the best answer. But this is just a bad question in general, so I would not worry too much about it if you had trouble with it, okay? And you were looking at this particular format of the question set. Okay, if x is greater than 0, actually let me see if this is advanced yet. Okay, this is starting from the difficult ones. Okay, if x is greater than 0 and x is 160% of y, which expression represents y in terms of x? So let's start from here. X equals 160% of y. So 160%, that's 1.6 times y. You can understand it like, first of all, 100% of y means x equals y. Yeah? So 160% of y means it's 60% more. So 1.6y. All right? So you just solve for y. 1 over 1.6, put it in your calculator, that's 0.625. Okay. 25. You have this absolute value equation. What is the sum of the solutions to the given equation? Okay, to be honest, I don't know why they put this as difficult. if I remember correctly, I remember having to solve absolute valued equations back in 7th grade. And I was not an honor student or anything like that. So hopefully you know how to do this. Okay, so how we do this is there's always one that's positive and there's one that's negative. Okay? So you keep the side as is, but here you have one that's positive and one that's negative, and you solve both of them individually. So over here you get x is 13, over here you get x is minus 35, add the two together, minus 22. One of the two linear equations in a system is given. The system has no solution. Which equation could be the second equation in the system? Okay, so you have to be careful here in that it's good to know that there's no solution when two linear lines are parallel. However, you have to add a caveat that they cannot be the exact same line. If it's exact same line, they're one on top of each other, so then there's infinite many solutions. They have to be parallel but with some offset between them. Then they'll never touch, so no solution, okay? So you gotta be careful. So you can see that these two, look, if you divide by 2 everywhere, you get this, so that's not that. If you divide by 4 everywhere here, you get this, so that's not it either, okay? Now it's between these two. You can find the slope of this line, which is a 6, and if you do it in your head, you'll see that this is a 6, so this is the answer, and the slope is not a 6th here. Okay? 27. Value of a house increased by 8%, then decreased by 3%. What's the net percentage increase? Okay? So what happened is if it started at some value x, increased by 8%, so times 1.08, and then decreased by 3%, so times 0.97. This is 1 minus 0.03, 0.97, okay? And then times by 100, okay? You'll get that. It'll be, if you do this and times 100, you'll get 4.76%. Choice A. You can even put this as 100 and then get rid of that, and then that should give you the answer as well. Okay? Okay. 28. Okay, so this is the free response now. This one is intermediate, which I really don't understand why, but we'll see. Let's look at it. Here's the equation. What is the value of 2x plus 3? Multiply both sides by 5. Okay, so be careful. You would get 2x plus 3 plus 5. Or actually, here. Don't do that first. Subtract 1 on both sides first. Okay, so you get this. And then you can see that you can multiply both sides by 5, and then you'll get that 2x plus 3 is equal to 4. Or you could just, since these match, these tops have to match as well. So 2x plus 3 equals 4. We really don't know why this was considered intermediate, but okay. Quadratic function can be used to model, okay, blah, blah, blah. Model object was launched into the air from a height of 0 feet, reached its max height at 31636 feet 14 seconds after it was launched. Based on the model, what is the height in the object 1 second after it was launched? Okay, so we can use vertex form, okay, because they gave us the vertex right here. This is the max. Min-max for a parabola is the vertex, okay? So we plug in, this is our, that's our k, this is our h, okay? So, because this is the independent variable, this is the dependent variable, right? This is the input, time, output, height, seconds. So we plug in right here, and we got to solve for a. We have to in this case. If you watched from some other problem, I didn't solve for a because it was a multiple choice thing, but here we need it, okay? So they gave us another point to help us find this a. It started at ground when it was at time is 0, right? So we know 0, 0 is the point. We plug this in as our y. And our x, we solve for a is minus 16, which we expect because this object goes like this. Yeah? So the parabola opens downwards, so a has to be negative, which is a good sign. We at least got that correct, okay? So we plug that in, and then they're asking the height after 1 second. So we plug in x is 1, and we get that y, the height, is 432. Okay? They said this one is difficult. Okay? So we have to just be able to model with this vertex form. Okay. Last two, these are intermediate. Table shows number of students, number of lecturers. No student can be a lecturer, okay? Person who in 2006 was a lecturer will be selected at random, okay? Expression shown, C is the constant represents the probability that person selected will be a lecturer at a medical school in Germany. What's the value of C? So this is the expression they're talking about. So notice, this is conditional probability. This is the lecturers, and this is the number in Germany, right? That's what they're asking for. So C, look, just has to be the sum, which is 90-20. Okay, and then the last one. At medical schools in Spain in 2006, the ratio of the number of students to the number of lecturers was k to 1. What's the value of k? Rounded to the nearest 10. So ratio is a fraction. Students to lecturers, S over L, that's how I denoted it, equals k over 1. K to 1, k over 1. So students in Spain in 2006, so students is this number, 2 lecturers, this number, equals k over 1. We solve for k and we round, it's 14.4.